Well, the Yemen conflict is, as always happened, a combination of conflicts. There is, in my opinion, a primary dimension of the conflicts, which is dividing Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, which are supportive of the government in Aden, and the Houthis. But there is also a conflict in the conflict, which is the one fought against Iran, against what is supposed to be or perceived to be the presence of Iran in the country in support is the Houthis. And these two major coalitions are, in a certain sense, shaping a conflict which is at the same level let's say, perceived as contradictory within the same coalitions, in the sense that the Emiratis and the Saudis are growingly disagreeing on the conduct of the conflict. The Emirates are considering as an option the partition of Yemen into independent entities. The Saudis are, on the contrary, interested in ending the conflict without losing the credibility which they've spent on the ground with the conflict. And on the other side, the Iranians are earning a lot without spending that much on the ground. So this combination of factors is unfortunately provoking a prolongement. It's complicating the situation on the ground, and it's potentially not only enlarging the duration of the conflict, but also enlarging the dimension of those who are involved on the ground. The conflict in Yemen is, in a certain sense, the personal war of Mohammed bin Salman. It's first more complex and, to a certain extent, the most dangerous elements of foreign policy and defense policy, which is risking to compromise its credibility and the capacity of continuity in its role as crown prince. There is notoriously growing tension inside the royal family, and of course the cost of the war and the impact of the war in terms of credibility, in terms of image for the country, is having an impact which is growing and which is affecting the capacity of Mohammed bin Salman of defending its own position within the administrative and let's say political environment of its country. It's difficult to foresee what could happen in the short term. We can certainly see that Mohammed bin Salman is interested in a solution. The problem is that this solution cannot be part of a program which is not giving him the possibility of concluding the war, ending the conflict without being perceived as the part which has been defeated. The Hodeidah harbor is vital for Yemen in order to avoid a humanitarian catastrophe. Already the conditions on the ground for the civilian population are extremely bad, and the number of casualties and the consequences of the war are provoking a major humanitarian crisis in Yemen. On the other side, it's more and more difficult for the international community and for the humanitarian ONGs to operate on the ground. It's becoming more dangerous, more difficult, and it's difficult to foresee what could be done in order to provide a major support for the civilian population, because of several factors. And I think that one of the most important of these factors is that there is still an ongoing lack of interest also in the West in talking about the war. The level of information, the capacity of providing the correct information seems to be still quite low, and there is this embarrassment commitment with Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, which are part of this conflict and which are receiving huge amount of weapons from several European and Western countries more in general. So this is provoking a consequence, and the consequence that the information on the war is quite poor, and the capacity to intervene as well has been diminished dramatically.